birthday. Hello.
Yes. Hey.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. It's Gina Page. I'm the president and co-founder of AfricanAncestry.com. Hello, hello. Very nice to see you all here. Thank you for joining us. This is our first broadcast of the year. Oops.
Yay.
Thank you, beautiful women. Yes.
Oh, well, thanks.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Oh, Amara doesn't see Imani doesn't see anyone. Imani, can you see us? Hopefully you can see us. Welcome, everybody. It's 2019.
Yeah.
2019 actually, but this is our first Facebook Live broadcast of the year, and I'm so excited about this one. I can't think of a better way to kick off the new year than with the guest that we're going to bring on today. I don't even know how to describe them. I have stuff that I could read, but it's just like they should be called. I think there's a podcast that's called Two Dope Sisters. That's
I like that.
Be somebody or other. But I have two dope sisters waiting to come on with us, and they are from. Their parents are Ugandan, and they're gonna have to tell you. Give me a hint. One of them is Ugandan, and the other one is Rwandan or Tanzanian.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
They're East Rwandan, and they are the East African part of African Ancestry's family. They didn't have to take any tests because they are all their roots. They are Christine St. Vil and Julian Kiganda. And when I say they are two dope sisters, I'm not kidding. So in full disclosure, I've gotten to know Christine pretty well. So I know a lot more about her than I know about Julian. I know that Julian's the rowdy sister. I do know that. I just know that from seeing you on live, Julian. You turn up.
I don't know.
But I want to welcome you to our Facebook Live. Oh, Christine, you're rocking your Find Your Tribe t-shirt.
Yes, of course.
It's really a pleasure to have you all here, not just because I like you so much personally, but we are always talking about Africa, obviously, and our connection to Africa. So to have the two of you who were raised by African parents, East African parents, but were raised in American culture, you're going to help add some flavor to our conversation that we haven't had yet. And so,
all right, now y'all ready? I don't know if they're
ready. I hope they're ready, Gina.
A two-part Facebook Live. I don't know if we have enough time.
It's about to be a takeover.
Look, we might end up interviewing you, Gina.
Right. In 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So so that's one reason they're here. The other reason they're here is because they just launched this most amazing planner. This is the 5th one, correct?
Yep.
Correct. Whose shoes are you wearing? I Am Powerful planner. And I'm going to tell you all that I told this to Christine. I don't really plan. I'm not a planner, and I have had a million planners, and I might fill in the calendar part, and then that's it. But when I opened this book, I was like, oh my goodness, I want to plan. The very first page when you open the book says, I am beautiful.
Yeah.
What kind of planner tells you I am beautiful when you open it up?
Yeah.
Thank
you.
And as you go through this, the point of, I'll let you all tell the point of the planner, but I saw this. It's to help me smash my goals.
Yes.
Achieve my goals, but smash my goals.
Yes.
This is incredible. So I know it's the 5th one. I'm late to the party, but can you all tell us about this planner, what it's about, how you got inspired to create the planner. I know you are the authors of Whose Shoes Are You Wearing, the book. So I'm imagine it's an an offshoot of that.
Yeah.
Yes. So you want me to start, Juju?
Go ahead, sis.
On that beat? Okay. So, hey, everyone. Welcome to the Facebook Live. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Gina, for having us. So we actually wrote a book in 2014. In May, it will actually be 5 years since we wrote our book. And the crazy thing is that the book was, the planner is actually an extension of the book. So, Whose Shoes Are You Wearing? 12 Steps to Uncovering the Woman You Really Want to Be. That is the name of the book. And so when we got together to write the book, we wanted something that can extend the message of walking boldly and fearlessly in the shoes that God created for you, like not being afraid to tackle your obstacles and your challenges and continuing to, you know, go through those things that you do and finding out, like, not just going through your obstacles and challenges, but saying, okay, it's happened, but how am I going to move through this? And so the planner was actually an extension of the book. And so every year since we wrote the book, we have released a planner to help women really understand how to walk boldly in the shoes that they were created to walk in. So Julian, I'll let you talk a little about the planner.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. Wait, there's more.
So the thing about the planner, you all, and Gina has kind of clued you in a little bit on what makes it special, but we really wanted to do something that was going to keep our readers and our customers motivated throughout the year, because we got so many people sending us testimonies about the book. And we said, but how can we give them something throughout the year that's going to keep them motivated and get them to actually reach their goals? Because this is a perfect time to talk about goals. So, you know, it is a true statistic that by the end of the year, right, only 8% of people actually reach the goals that they set out to reach. So that's one. Two, by I think it's January 31st around there, if not sooner, people just give up altogether on their goals. So part of what we did with the planner was we featured fabulous women like Miss Gina Page in our planner this year. And every single month, you get to meet a new woman. You get to hear her story about how she learned how to discover and walk in her own shoes. And the stories are what people tell us every year is the best part of the planner. But it's also set up so that it keeps you from being overwhelmed and helps you manage your time better, so you're more productive. And we get so many people saying, just like Gina, you know, I'm not a planner, but this makes it so simple to plan that I'm gonna use this, you know. So we're excited because we're planning a lot of fun stuff for our anniversary year, but definitely we sell out every year. We're way more than halfway through our stock for this year, so make sure you get yours ASAP.
Yes, let me tell you, you all, my father bought a planner.
What?
Yes, my father, he's probably on here. If not, he usually is on the lives, but he came into our office and he's like, oh, you all haven't seen the planner? Because I had brought it in. It was sitting at home on my table, and every day I would walk in and be like, oh my God, I'm brilliant. Before my day, my story says, you are or I am brilliant. So I just want to bring it in the office. So he's like, oh, you all haven't seen the planner?
I love it. Go, Dad.
Yeah. So it really is. And then I felt bad for not having gotten everyone in my office a planner, because they were all like, oh my God.
Oh, you still can. Don't worry, Gina. We got you. You still can.
Yes.
I set myself up for that one. I really do appreciate this planner. And I peeked ahead. Like, who's going to wait until February and March and
People don't.
read the stories? I want to thank you, because I feel honored to be in this book with these other women. When you see other women that look like you are gone through some challenge, maybe it's one similar to yours, maybe not, but they got through it.
Yeah.
And that really does give you motivation. So I'm saying I'm going to use the planner now. It's January. We're not going to come in June, because I might fall off. But let's
know how to keep you accountable, Gina. It's all right.
I learned something very interesting about you, Julian,
Yes,
that you designed a museum.
I did. I
Tell me
did.
about that experience. What was the museum and how did that impact you?
Oh my gosh. You know, this story sometimes even brings me to tears because it was such an eye-opening and really life-changing experience for me. So in 2006, I was approached by the Northern Virginia Urban League because they were looking to build a museum in their headquarters in Alexandria. Now, most people don't realize that Alexandria, Virginia used to be part of DC. It was, eventually annexed to Virginia, but that whole area, a lot of it because they were so close to the water, it was one of the major hubs of the slave trade back in the day. So this particular building that the Northern Virginia Urban League bought back in 1996, it was interesting. It was really poetic justice because that particular building was where two of the wealthiest men who built their wealth from the slave trade retired from, and they had what was called the Alexandria Slave Pen. And I'll tell you, it's so interesting. When I first went to the building and went into the basement, because it used to be a whole block, it was a whole compound, but now it's just this one building. But when I first went into that building and I went into the basement where the male slaves were kept before they were taken to Forks of the Road, Mississippi, and New Orleans, Louisiana, which is where most of them were taken to, you could actually feel the energy there. We've had people who refused to go in the basement because they could feel the energy of what happened in that space. And I remember walking to that space, learning that we had won the project. And let me tell y'all something. I had never designed anything beyond a huge poster in my life. Like this was talk about a leap of faith. It was a leap of faith, but I think the thing that won us the project was that we were just so passionate about the subject matter. And I felt such a responsibility to do justice to the stories of the people that, were sold from that space. So in the process of designing this museum, we had to do a lot of research and learning about the slave trade. So many questions I used to have as an African, why are there so many Black folk in the South? I never understood that. And I think a lot of people may not even understand why that was. Things like, why did all these slaves that came from, Africa now have American names? Again, something that I never bothered to really study, but come to find out they took on the last name of the slave master. So they lost their identity. And that's why, Gina, what you do is such a powerful thing and so important.
And I often say that, not often, I always say that we are the original victims of identity.
Yes,
you do. We're the first ones. We lost everything. And our names were just part of that, which we lost. Julian, I want to ask you though, so you were raised here in the United States, but you didn't learn anything about history, huh?
Is that a trick question?
About history. Sorry, about our history.
About Black history. I mean, when you think about it, if anybody, the average American, let's not even look at African, Black, whatever, it doesn't matter. The average American, what they know about Black history is Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, civil rights, and slavery. A little like, and when you think about slavery, they think about Gone with the Wind, right? Let me tell you something. We have no clue, unless you have really taken the time to study Black history, African American history, you really have no clue of what people went through. And I'll tell you, there's this one book that I read while we were doing the museum and doing all the research, and it was called Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl.
Oh, yeah, that's a real life account.
Oh, my goodness. And it was the only account, actually, that was written by a female slave. And it was written so impeccably that they even questioned that she wrote it. Her name was, oh my goodness, what was the author? Harriet.
Harriet something.
It'll come to me. But reading that book, I couldn't even read it all the way through. I kept putting it down, crying, putting it down, crying, putting it down, picking it up, reading some more, crying, because understanding that these Africans were brought here. I mean, I think of myself as just, I have so much pride in my culture, But knowing that, Africans were brought here and completely cut off from that. And not only that, they were degraded, they were maimed, they were killed, they were humiliated. It was just such a heartbreaking thing. But at the same time, it also made me realize what my responsibility was as an African who knew my roots and could trace them back to the 15th century, that I had an obligation to reach out to my African-American brothers and sisters and the rest of the diaspora and really start building those bridges.
Well, let's talk about that. So do you find that in the community that you move through, the African part of the community that you move through, do you find that other people, your peers, are helping to build bridges, or do you see that there's still a very clear divide?
There is, and thank you. Somebody just put up Harriet Jacobs. That's the name of the author of the book. So if anybody's interested in Black history, African American history, buy that book, read it. It's not long, but it's powerful. So here's the interesting thing. I think there are different categories of Africans. That's probably the only way I could really put it. And I know my sister knows where I'm going with this. But, you have those who are really old school and they're like, no, I ain't dealing with none of these Americans. I may be here, but I'm gonna stay in my community, do my thing, and I ain't got nothing to do with them. That's a lot of the old school folks. But then you have people like us, who are a younger generation. I think we've also been exposed more to just globally, social media has changed so much in terms of how we interpret history now. You look at the Black Lives Matter movement. So I would say, more and more of our generation, we are really doing those things that are looking to build more bridges. Like, here's a perfect example. This is what gets me excited. When I see people like Omarion and a lot of these African-American artists who are now collaborating with African musicians and Caribbean musicians, and there's all this crossover, you're seeing, that's one way that I'm seeing these bridges built. And I'm just so excited about that, because I'm just like, man, if we do more of that, it's all over. Because I truly believe, and I know you believe this too, there's just power in unity and power in collaboration. So I would say no, not all my peers, because I have actually a girlfriend of mine who is my peer who said this to me not that long ago. She was like, well, I don't understand why these African Americans are so lazy and they don't want to work and they don't want to do this. And I'm just like, and that was part of her justification for not wanting to date a Black person. And I was like, and I had to break it down to her. I'm like, there's reasons for all that. This is all generational, and not all of them are like that. There's African Americans I know who know more about African history than I do.
Right.
So, hey, let me interject here.
We talking to one, right?
Exactly.
No. But I do have, so every week we do a trivia question. This is the perfect place to insert the trivia question. Do you know the question, Christine?
I don't know which one you're going to ask. I know there's a few.
Okay. Well, do you want to pick one? You pick one, because you know the answers.
Hold on. Let me see. No.
Do you remember what you wrote?
Right. I'm like, what did I send you? Hold on. Okay. Let me see which one I should ask.
We can do two. We can do two.
Oh, okay. I'll do, okay. What is the name? Okay. What is the name of the bird on the Ugandan flag?
What is the name of the bird on the Ugandan flag? Okay. All right. So all of you all who are watching, Pamela, good evening. Gina, hey Gina, good to see you. Happy 2019. Eric, Danita, Shavana, all of you guys, do you know the answer to this? It's Joseph.
Y'all Googling. They're taking too long. That means they're trying to Google it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. They're all trying to Google.
Is it Google? And I also want to point out, a couple people were shouting out your T-shirt, Christine, and those T-shirts are available on the site.com. So I think a T-shirt is the prize. Our logo T-shirt is the prize, not the Find Your Tribe T-shirt. The logo T-shirt is the prize. What is the name of the bird on the Ugandan flag? Considering doing a Facebook Live on that conversation between Africans and Africans.
Yes.
On either side of the bridge. I've been a little against it because we're about building the bridge. We're about crossing the bridge. And I don't know that I want to perpetuate the negative, but it exists and it's something it's real and it is something that we should talk about. So,
well, Gina, even the conversation we had earlier, the post that Russell Simmons' son, posted on Instagram about how his recent trip to Ghana, which apparently it sounded like his first time in Africa, like opened up his eyes, because even though he had friends from all these different parts of Africa telling him how great it was falling on deaf ears from him, because he was just like, okay, what I grew up with is not what y'all are saying, so I don't believe it. And then he went and it like completely changed his life. So I definitely think that it's a conversation that could be had for sure.
Well, that's a whole lot of conversations. It could be a whole series. That's not just one conversation.
Okay, well, you all have to help co-host that, because it's heavy. It's heavy.
It is.
So looks like Deborah won. Congratulations, Deborah.
Yeah. Go, Deborah.
African Ancestry t-shirt. And so let's do another trivia question, Christine. We could do the one about the ethnic groups, maybe. Tell us. So one of the things that makes AfricanAncestry.com separate, better, sets us apart from all the other companies that claim to do the same kind of work, is that we don't just tell you that you're African.
Right.
I mean, results are African. We give you the present day country. So it's not a region, there's some percentage from this region with who knows what countries in it. Mm-hmm. And we give you the ethnic group or the tribe. That's what makes African Ancestry different. No other company in the world can do that. And we're able to do that because we have the largest database of indigenous African lineages in the world, over 33,000. Now, we have 40 countries, but the majority of our coverage is West and Central Africa, ladies. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm glad you're here, because you bring the East African.
Oh, absolutely.
Anytime, girl, anytime.
But it's very important that we learn not just the place, but we learn the people. So can you all, we'll do the trivia question, and then can you all talk about your ethnic groups and what kinds of traditions have carried over that you've learned? Like you said, your ancestry back to the 15th century. So I want to talk about that after we do this trivia question.
Okay, so and this trivia question is actually funny because I had to call my mom to verify, because it was one thing and then Julian said something and then it actually both were right. So the trivia question is, how many tribes are there or clans are there in Uganda?
How many clans are there?
Clans, yeah.
Yeah. And some people say ethnic groups, but it's all the same thing.
Clans, yeah.
And we for until 2018, we never said the word tribe. We always used ethnic group, because tribe has some very negative connotations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was convinced to move to tribe for a few reasons. One, the average Black person, we have to meet people where they are.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
The average person knows the word tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And once we get you in, then we can talk to you about ethnic groups and the differences. Now, the second reason is we have built our own tribe. The African Ancestry family has become a tribe in every positive sense of the word. Yeah. So I think that there's a way for us to talk about this in a positive manner. So what is your clan? What is your ethnic group?
So our ethnic group is the Baganda, which is actually the largest of the ethnic groups or the tribes in Uganda. And there's actually, I believe it's 7 kingdoms. So ours was the largest kingdom, which included a number of other ethnic groups. And our king is actually, he got reinstated, so to speak, several years ago by the current president. So we still have a lot of those customs, the kingdom, the queen, the princes, and all that. And then within each tribe, then you have clans. And so I don't even know how many clans there are. I think there's like 30 something clans. How many?
52.
No, but clans within the Baganda. So our ethnic group out of the...
Right, I thought I was answering the trivia question.
Oh, sorry. Did somebody get it?
Yeah. Danita got it. Danita.
Oh, awesome. Go, Danita. Listen. So within each ethnic group, then you have clans. And the whole purpose of clans is so that when you come from a certain clan, if somebody else, even if they're not related to you necessarily by blood, but you're that close in that clan, it helps keep people from intermarrying within the same family. So that's the purpose of clans. So our clan, and you always take the clan of your father. So our clan is the Ngeye clan. And then, there's a whole bunch of other ones. And every year we have different events. We have a national Ugandan organization, the Ugandan North American Association. They host a convention every year where, you have thousands of Ugandans come from all over the US, Canada, Uganda, London. They come from everywhere. And we celebrate a lot of our culture.
We actually grew up learning our culture.
We did. I'm going to let you talk about that, Chrissy, because that was an important part of why we're so proud of who we are.
Yeah.
What kinds of things did you do?
So we have always been, and some people don't know even about this about me, when I share a fun fact, my fun fact is like, we grew up, my sisters and I, in the performing arts. We grew up learning our traditional dances. We grew up learning like all of those things. And we would travel the country literally performing at schools, at universities, at festivals, Kennedy Center, you name it. Like we were traveling, learning all of that's how I learned even like songs, like some of the languages, like I'm learning because we were singing the songs. We had to learn the songs and sing all of that. So trust me, our parents were not letting us get away with not understanding what our culture was, where we came from every day. So even when we wrote our book, like a lot of it was talking about just the struggle with feeling like we were straddling two continents, because we would go to school and we're hanging with our friends and they're American, and we're one way at school and outside the house, and we knew as soon as we came home our dialect changed.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes our dress
once we got home.
Wow. So now you both have children. I know one of you has a large family, one of you has a smaller family. I'm not gonna put all your business out there, although you're online, Christine, so people know.
You put your own business out there.
These women, when I tell you they're superheroes, they are truly, look at this, performing arts. That's why Julian turns up on the Facebook.
That does have something to do with it. I will
design, social media, excellency, mastery, authors, writers, planner. Oh my goodness.
We want to be like you when we grow up, Gina.
I know, right?
Please. What do you all do with your kids? Are your husbands, did you marry, or I'm sorry, are their fathers African, or did you marry men from, or does your family include, God, you gotta be so social.
No, you don't. Just say it, girl. Just say it.
Mm-mm. Are your men African? And how do you continue the culture within your family now?
Yeah, well, it's so interesting because I actually write about my marriage and divorce in the book, and whose shoes are you wearing? And one of the main reasons why we even wrote the book was because we recognized that there were a lot of personal development books out there, but there weren't any that wrote about it from a cultural perspective. So one of the things that I write about from an African perspective was the fact that, I got married at 23, just knew I knew what I wanted. Now, he was African. He was actually Ugandan. He was from the same tribe, not the same clan, because I wouldn't have been able to marry him if it was from the same clan. But he was from the same tribe. He was the same religion. My parents, my whole family loved him. I mean, it was like, the marriage made in heaven. And what I came to slowly realize over time was that even though we were from the same tribe, because I had grown up here and he had grown up in Uganda, we had two very different perspectives, very different, which did not become evident until after we were married. Because, before you get married, you're putting your best foot forward and everybody's, hey, baby. And then, you're like, oh, we married. You ain't going nowhere. And then it all just,
Right.
What have you
done with your daughter?
So say that again.
What have you done with your daughter? Do you share that? Do you all have your kids going around the country dancing?
We have actually had them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've had them performing. We've taught them the dances. So one of the things that we were both committed to was making sure that she grew up knowing her heritage. She has never once said she's from the U.S. Anytime somebody asks her, she says she's Ugandan, because I've never understood that thing where, you say your parents are from a country. Well, if your parents are from that country, then that's where you're from. Like, that's what's running through your blood. The zip code doesn't change what's running through your blood. That's my belief. So with her, I've always raised her to know her heritage. She can speak a language. My mother's teaching her language, which is Kinyarwanda. She's grown up dancing, like all of that. And I think, my sister, we all try to do pretty much the same thing because we've seen the benefit of what it does for your self-esteem when you grow up knowing exactly who you are.
And Shavana even commented on that. Thanks for being here, Shavana. Shavana says, I wish I grew up with the knowledge you laid. And that's part of the void that is real for us in the diaspora outside of Africa. But that's why these are exciting times. Africa is so lit.
Yeah.
Find out where you come from. And then you can meet people in your city, probably in church, and depending on where you live, in your office, in your classroom, that are from that same place. And so while we didn't grow up with this information, it's not too late for us to get it. And I'm really honored that African Ancestry stands here. And our purpose is for people to be able to get that information and transform the way that they view themselves as Black folks in the world and the way that they view Africa. So what do your kids do, Christine?
So my husband is actually from Haiti. His family's from Haiti, and so our kids,
St. Vil.
Yes, that's where the St. Vil comes from. So our oldest sister actually has released some African gospel music, and so through that, my girls have actually had the opportunity to dance and learn, different dances through that as well. So as much as possible, we try to expose them. We do actually have in our community, it's called the Luganda Academy. And so when I can get them there, I try to get them there, but it's literally for children, Ugandan children in, the area, the DMV, who are wanting to learn, their culture, their, the language, all of those things. And I've had them even take like a couple of like courses with Luganda singing and just learning, different numbers and counting and things like that, because it is important. And they know, like, if anybody asks them, they know my mommy's from Uganda, my daddy's from Haiti. So we never let them forget that, for sure.
Nice. That's so good to hear. For those of you all who are just joining us, thank you for being here. I'm Gina Page. I'm the president and co-founder of AfricanAncestry.com. We're the pioneers of genetic ancestry tracing for Black people around the world. And I have two dope sisters, Julian Kiganda of Bold and Fearless, right? And Christine St. Vil of Moms in Charge. They are here with me sharing with us about cross-cultural experiences and what it means for them to be Ugandan women growing up here in the United States of America. They have released their newest planner, which you can't see too good, but Ty put it, I Am Powerful, the Who Shoes Are You Wearing planner. Can they get this at mahoganybooks.com? I know you can get the Who Shoes Are You Wearing book at mahoganybooks.com. Can they get the planner there too?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I encourage you all to please go over to mahoganybooks.com and get the book and the planner. And if you get it now, you can start your January off planning with me.
I was about to say, who's in January? I mean, we're not going to just glaze over that, Gina.
Listen, we lit it up in January with Miss Gina Page, okay?
No, such an honor. But it's a wonderful planner. Even my father got one.
Gina playing.
Yes.
This beautiful January feature we have. So if you want to learn about Gina's story that she claims she ain't have,
right.
Definitely make sure you check out the planner because she shares the story in it.
How are my guests putting me on blast? How does that work?
Oh, I love it. But wait, Shavana just said that you, Gina Page, are the modern day Harriet Tubman. Yes.
Listen.
Oh my gosh.
Listen.
Yes, Shavana.
That's powerful.
I read everything I can about Harriet Tubman. I wear Harriet Tubman t-shirts.
Yeah.
She is definitely a role model for sure.
That is so accurate.
Yes.
So there were so many things that I was supposed to ask you guys, but let's just
forget about all that.
Yeah, forget about all that. This is more fun. But what do you have coming up around Who's Shoes? Because I know you're going to be doing some things around the planner. So tell us about those so we can make sure everybody knows about them.
So first, we want to make sure that you all follow us on @WhoShoesBook on every platform, because we're going to be doing a series of interviews with all of the women who are featured in the planner, including Ms. Gina Page. Yeah. So you all are not going to want to miss that. And those interviews are really going to be, keeping you inspired and motivated to continue with pursuing your goals over, the entire year and not stopping because it gets hard. So make sure that you follow us, because we'll be posting the schedule for all those interviews throughout the year. And then we're literally in the planning phases of our 5-year anniversary relaunch. So this year, 2014, May 2014, I can't believe it's been 5 years. Like that's crazy. That is crazy. And I remember our book launch was like standing room only, packed, sold out. People had to leave and say, look, I couldn't get in, so I'm going to have to come to you later to sign my book. But we're just so excited that this book has literally taken on a life of its own since we started. And we have a lot of stuff planned. So the most important thing is just follow us on social media, because that's where we'll be posting information, events. We're looking to do some pretty amazing things this year.
Yes. And we do have a free ebook too. So it actually is more like stories and just motivation and empowerment. So, and I don't think I gave you guys a link, but I'll put it in here. It's just bit.ly/WSB 15 stories. So I'm going to put it in here for you guys. But if you're looking for like an immediate, like I need some motivation, and it's just another series of women who have been featured before in our planner and are sharing their stories and how they've overcome. And that's one of the things that we get the most feedback from our customers is, oh my gosh, these stories in here are life-changing. They completely, turned everything around for me. So we definitely wanted to put something together where people can just get it, download it, and start getting inspired.
Okay, say that link again, Christine.
Yep, I'm about to put in here 15 stories, the number 15, and I'm putting it in the comments now.
15 stories. Okay.
Yep, that's it.
So I want to invite you all. Hopefully you will accept my invitation. We are doing our first meetup. So we're going to have an African Ancestry meetup on February 6th. So we're kicking off Black History Month meetup. And I want everybody to do a save the date for February 6th at 6 p.m. The location is not yet confirmed, but it's going to be a black-owned establishment.
Yes.
And we're going to be doing photography and collecting the stories of people who've taken our test. We have this Find Your Tribe campaign that we've been doing, and we're going to extend that throughout this year. And Find Your Tribe is based on people who've taken our test. So I want to invite everyone to the African Ancestry meetup, and especially those of you who have taken our test, so that you can be featured as part of Find Your Tribe. And I want to thank you all again, Julian Kiganda and my girl Christine St. Bill, for coming on. I'm in Atlanta right now. Christine, you'll be here tomorrow.
Good morning, girl.
Off the plane and sped to the hotel so that I could do this in a normal, quasi-normal environment, not in the airport. Right. But I'm here for a few days. And then next week, I'm going to be on the Capital Jazz Super Cruise. And I'm really excited about that, not for the cruise, because I really don't believe that Black people should be on boats in life.
She's like, we had our share of boats.
Yeah, I don't, that's not for me. But I go because for the past 5-6 years, we've partnered with Capital Jazz, and we test some of the artists in advance, and we reveal their ancestries on the ship.
That is going to be amazing.
Wow.
So I'm going to be revealing Sheila E.'s ancestry. You all know Sheila E., right?
Ah, yes, honey, glamorous life. Come on.
Yeah, so Ms. Sheila E. is going to find out her ancestry. I'm also revealing Gregory Porter.
Yes.
You better
That's
ask.
awesome.
Wow.
That man has the most beautiful voice.
Mm.
And from what I understand, his personality is equally as riveting. And so I'll let y'all know about that.
Oh, you will.
And then the last person we are revealing is, well, two people, Avery Sunshine, the singer Avery Sunshine, and her partner, I believe his name is Dana. Yeah, Dana Johnson.
Nice.
We're revealing their ancestry. So we're expanding the family on the high seas, and I look forward to sharing that experience with everyone when I get back. Next week, we are going to have some more staff takeovers. So Tammy Seibert is going to take over next week and help people understand how they can cope with their results. You know, this is life-changing.
It is.
Not what you expected, or if it's not what you understand, or if it's a result that you don't like, it can impact your experience in a negative way. And so Tammy's going to talk about how we deal with having a better understanding of who we are, because the truth is the truth.
Yeah.
Especially for us as African Americans, none of us is 100% African. In our spirit and in our soul we are, but in our genetics it tells a more mixed story. And so Tammy's going to delve into that. And then the following week, Kelly, everybody's favorite from African Ancestry Customer Service, Kelly Bowman, will be on to talk about, I don't know what she's going to talk about, I can't remember right now, but she's going to talk about something and it's going to be great. Everybody loves Kelly. Let me tell y'all something. When she's not there and somebody else answers the phone, they're like, well, is Kelly there?
Kelly's pretty awesome.
Kelly. I'm like, well, I think I could probably help you. No,
not the same. Not the same.
So,
what is your name, Kelly, though?
So anyway, that's our Facebook Live. I got to go check into this hotel and also get some dinner. But I want to thank everybody for checking in. Imani, Joseph, I can't see all your names now, Gina, Shavana, all of you all who come every week and represent. I appreciate it. Sleuth Pro, what's up, Sleuth, down in South Carolina, or in Savannah, Georgia. It's good to see you. And I will talk to you all very soon. Christine, I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for having us, Gina.
Yeah, thank you, Gina.
Take care. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.